Okay, dear Dhamma friends, so we have come to the next event of this retreat. So that is for the Dhamma talk. So let me give you a consent by saying sadhu sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Seelavanta kottita bhikkhuna panchupadana kanda parato yoniso manasika tabbati. Dear Dhamma friends, as you may know, so all these series of Dhamma sermons, we have kept one sutta as the title. So that is Seelavanta Sutta, also called as Sila Sutta, which comes in Kanda Sangyutta, in Sangyutta Nikaya. So really interesting sutta in the Vipassana point of view, because it gives a really interesting junction, kind of a interesting point where the traditional trend, the traditional method of Sila Samadhi Panya is little deviated here. Directly when a bhikkhu is establish oneself in morality, what he has to do? So that is the question Venerable Mahakottita asking from Venerable Mahasariputta. Actually this explains as a discussion between Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Mahakottita. At one occasion, Venerable Mahakottita and Venerable Mahasariputta staying at Isipatana Migadaya, where Buddha did the first sermon. So after arising from his daily meditation, Venerable Mahakottita reached Venerable Mahasariputta and asking a question. The question is, so when one is fully established oneself in morality, in Sila, so what is the next thing he has to do? So rather than telling that he has to establish first in concentration, Venerable Sariputra immediately going to the wisdom aspect. So that is to say, the monk or whoever is the follower of the Buddha, who is now moral, virtuous, has to reflect the Panchupadana Khanda, the five clinging aggregates, as Aniccato, Dukkhato, Rogato, Gandato, Sallato, Agato, Abadato. Likewise, 11 facets are explained, and through these 11 facets, through these 11 ways, that the Panchupadana Khanda, the five clinging aggregates, has to be reflected, has to be contemplated, has to be observed in that angle. So this is a very good instruction for Vipassana meditation. So today I am giving more emphasis on one perspective, that is called Parato. So this is extremely interesting aspect, because throughout the Buddha's explanations, so this notion, this way of looking at things is very well explained. So for example, in Kayanupassana, say in as an example, say in Anapanasati, say one establish oneself in mindfulness, and he keep his body erect, and then he starts feeling in-breath and out-breath. So he's just mindful about in-breath and out-breath. So he breathes in, he's aware that he is breathing in. He breathing out, he is aware that breathes out. So at the beginning we have some kind of self-notion. So I am breathing in, I am breathing out. So we have some sort of self-view, because we are coming with full of defilements, we are coming with as beginners. So we are with that typical understanding, typical wrong understanding that I am a person, I am a so and so, I am a self. So doesn't matter, we start like that. And then as we mature in meditation, so we may able to tackle various distractions and able to establish mindfulness. And now breathing smoothens, breathing calms down, and we are able to trace that certain breaths are long and certain breaths are short. So here, if we put any kind of preference, so shorter breaths are much better than longer breaths, so then we are doing some kind of mistake. So we need to have some kind of perspective. So it doesn't matter. Either it may be longer or either it may be shorter. It is my responsibility to just accept it as it is. So this is one very crucial point where we should not try to control breathing. We should not make any kind of preferences. The observation has to be mere observation, just a distance observation. So this is how we are coming to this perspective of Parato. Parato literally means looking at things as someone else's. So now you are experiencing breathing, observing breathing, even though it is your own body. We'll say like that for the general understanding. Even though it is your own body, breathes in and breathing out, but you have a Parato perspective. It is seeing as someone else's body. Someone else is now breathing in. Someone else is breathing out. Actually, if we don't make this kind of distinction, it is very difficult to calm down breathing, because we are trying to control it. We keep on controlling, we keep on judging, we keep on putting expectations rather than just being as an outsider looking at breathing. So it is a very crucial point to have this kind of distance, seeing breathing as someone else's breathing. Now breathing, say it is longer at this moment, so you looking at it as someone else's breathing is longer. Now it is changing and you have no preference. And now it is changing to shorter breaths. So you just accept it, just acknowledges it, just observes it as it is now shorter. In terms of time, now it compared to the previous breath, now this particular breath just passed is a little shorter. So you are slowly allowing the breathing to happen very naturally. You need to relax. You can't have a grip on breathing. It's extremely relaxed. You are allowing the breathing to happen naturally, and you understand or you feel now breathing is longer. Later on, say now breathing is shorter. Or else, now breathing is shorter, say another time at another stage, now breathing is longer. There is no preference. If you are able to do like this, then what happens is, so because of less grip, because of no grasping, seeing things as someone else's breathing, breathing becomes calming down. So we need to have a very clear understanding about this point. So when breathing calms down, we need to see whether is it possible to catch certain areas which at the moment I am not sensitive enough. So at the beginning, our mindfulness is very less, not so sharp. So we cannot catch or we cannot trace certain parts of the breath. What we understand is only the middle part, which is the kind of gross part. But it is our duty to check or even improve the mindfulness, increase the mindfulness, and see whether we can catch the little earlier part, the beginning part of the breath. As we can do so, if we are experiencing it, if we are able to further enhance the breathing cycle, further get more detailed breathing cycle, then as an advantage of that, we are able to get the ending part as well. So not only the beginning, now even the ending part we are able to understand. So slowly it is starting. So you are looking at very patiently. It is someone else is slowly breathing, very slowly. and you are experiencing it. Now the sensation increases, and now it is calming down, again decreases, sensation decreases. Now the complete breathing cycle, the inhaling finish. Now you are experiencing some kind of calmness, rest period. Now the out-breath slowly begins. Out-breath slowly increasing, the sensation increasing. And again it's diminished, again it's reducing, again it goes to disappear. Now if you are able to maintain that kind of gap, this cycle is very easy. But at the beginning it's very kind of a struggle, because mind is going here and there, and while breathing is calming down, mind has gone to somewhere else. So even though the process has started naturally, we cannot keep our mind in track with the breathing. So that is the major disadvantage or major obstacle at the beginning we have. But suppose we are trying enough, we are not giving up, but trying our best to take the mind back and keeping in line with breathing. Even if several other thoughts are coming, distracting thoughts are coming, pains are occurring, we are not taking too much consider of those things. Even that point, we are taking the pains and the other distracting thoughts as someone else's. We are simply letting go. We are not giving any emphasis, any importance to even the pain or even the other thoughts. So our whole complete involvement is to observe breathing. So if it is happening, now if we have some kind of too much grasping, if we are too much self-centered, we might even get afraid, because breathing is coming too much subtle now. You may feel like you are not breathing. So you may, if the self-centeredness or certain self-notion is too much, you may immediately start breathing fast, forced breathing, because the body is extremely calmed down. Breathing is almost like unnoticeable. But if you can understand the Parato concept, that is, that breathing is a kind of a natural phenomena happening due to causes. It belongs to the nature. The body may take care of itself. Now you don't need to put your hand. Let the body breathe. Let the body take care of itself. So if you can understand this point, if you can avoid putting your hand, seeing body as someone else's, then breathing further calms down. And you may come to a stage that you can't understand whether you are breathing in or breathing out. So if you are coming to this stage, so that means if you are able to come to this stage, then you have a fair understanding of this concept. The whole process is happening very naturally. So we are the one disturbing it. So if it is calming down, and if we can't maintain this perspective, correct perspective, we are disturbing the process. But if we have the correct perspective, we are letting it further calm down. Passambayang kaya sankarang assa sissamiti sikkati, Buddha says. So you are further tranquilizing the breath, further allowing it to calm down. So it's a kind of a restraint. So you can't stop putting your hand. So you do some kind of restrainment. So allow it to happen. So you are keeping the doing nature away from the process. You are keeping yourself distant, making you as someone else, body as something else. Body now belongs to cause and effect. Breathing is a process, belongs to cause and effect. So you have this understanding, and you let the body breathing, and you are simply observing as an outside observer. So if you are successful in this process, the breathing further calms down, and you may come to an extremely calm state, very beautiful state. Now breathing becomes really beautiful. You don't need to force the mind to be with the breath, but mind itself stays with the breath. It's an extremely beautiful state of Anapanasati, where when you are experiencing it very first time, But as you go on, you have this skill. But as a beginner, when you experience in this stage, it is a very beautiful state. Because even sometimes the sounds are occurring, pains are occurring, still mind does not distract. Mind started understanding the beauty in being with breath. Breath being a very calm, neutral object, still breathing, or rather attention, mind stays with the breath. So it's a real amazing situation, because at the beginning we couldn't imagine that our mind would even stay with the breath. Now when you reach this stage, mind automatically stays with the breath. Even if we want to take it to some other thing, it doesn't like, because it understood itself as a kind of frictionless nature of this breathing. Because going to another distraction, going to another thought, going to a pain, actually is painful, actually is frustration. It's not so beautiful, not so calming, and not so smooth like being with the breath. So one may understand the beautiful breath. So mind may, more and more you understand it, more and more you settle down, more and more you allow the mind to be with the breath. Now this actually is only possible when you are maintain some kind of distance from the body, from the breathing. Now this is I have explained towards Anapanasati. Actually some same type of situation is there even if you do 4 elements meditation. Now at one occasion, Buddha advising Venerable Rahula to his only son, Buddha says, Yang meva kopana ajjattika patavidhatu, yacha bahira patavidhatu, patavidhatu veresa. Now advising to Venerable Rahula, Buddha says, if there is any internal earth element, or if there is any external earth element, both are just earth element. There is no difference. If we consider this statement itself, so we don't have this kind of understanding. So for example, so this body, so I think that this body belongs to me. So this head hair belongs to me. This skin belongs to me. This skeleton belongs to me. Whatever the solid parts belong to me. So all the solid parts in the body represents earth element. That is the internal earth element. So what Buddha refers here is that internal earth element has no difference from the external earth element. So you know there are vast amount of external earth element available. Now these all floors, walls, chairs and all, everything belongs to external earth element. And what we have inside is extremely a less amount. But we have given too much emphasis to this internal earth element. But here the point what Buddha makes is that there is no difference between this internal earth element and the external earth element. In the conventional level also we can understand it, because through the food that we are taking in, from starting from the as an infant, and if you are at your say 50s, 60s or so, whatever, now throughout this lifespan you are eating, you are drinking. So all these nutrition has ultimately converted to cells and various things, and ultimately now you have various components, various organs, so which has certain amount of earth element. So that earth element actually came from the nature. So logically we can understand it, but this logical understanding is not enough. So logically even a scientist can understand it. They may understand better than us, but none of them were liberated because they don't have seen it in the proper perspective. So they have in the sort of investigation or rather experiment mindset, but not kind of in the Buddha's advice type of mindset. So they haven't make a kind of a noble quest, but just as a sake of experiment they are doing. But as a yogi, when you do 4-element meditation, so this advice is extremely important. Because now say while you calm down breathing, if you want to turn to 4-element meditation, you may start observing your body from the elements perspective. Say you have now calmed down mind, breathing has calmed down, is well concentrated. You can't even trace whether it is in-breath and out-breath, which indicates you are at a fair concentrated state. At this stage, if you like, you can pay your attention to elements. So elements does not represent as I am Patavi Dhatu, I am Tejo Dhatu, like that. I am earth element, I am fire element. They don't say like that. But the yogi, the meditator, has to understand their language. How a yogi would understand the language of the elements? So they represent through their characteristics. For example, earth element represents itself using heaviness, using lightness, using roughness, smoothness, stiffness, tightness. So those are certain characteristics belongs to earth element. So whenever you experience some kind of stiffness at any place, so that is an indication that earth element is predominant there. But we need to have proper understanding. Now mind is no more claiming that it is my leg, it is my stomach, it is my head, it is my arm. So there is no such kind of claiming. If you are doing such kind of claiming, you are disturbing your improvement. You are disturbing your progress. So when you simply experience this kind of elementary characteristics, when element starts talking to you, just don't try to claim them. Just let them talk to you. Let them show themselves. And you simply have to observe. You simply have to accept. You simply have to receive. That means, so wherever, say, stiffness happen, it is just is stiffness. It is not your stiffness. It is not your arm stiffness. If you are trying to locate it, whether it is happening at my arm, whether it is happening at my knee, whether it is happening at my legs or wherever, then you are disturbing the process. So we have to be very careful at this stage. So whenever you are trying to map the place, whenever you are trying to map the conventional reality to this ultimate reality, you are disturbing the process. So when you come to this stage, when the natural characteristics are properly showing themselves, just acknowledge, just accept, just receive them as it is. Don't put any type of labels there. So when you are reaching this stage, actually a fair amount of mental calmness have happened, inner chatter has reduced, and you are able to observe the process as simply a process. So body is experiencing various things, and it is no more your body. Legs are experiencing stiffness, tightness, roughness, whatever the elementary things, but it no more your legs. You can't locate it, you can't name them, and don't try to name them. So maintain a distance even at this earth element. Now same pattern applies to the other elements. It may be water element, it may be air element, it may be fire element. Say you are experiencing some kind of cold feeling. Some places are cold. Don't try to name, don't try to locate, or don't try to give names. In terms of your typical language, whether it is stomach or whether it is knees or like that. If you are trying to give names, trying to figure out where it is happening, then you are disturbing the process. If, on the other hand, if you feel it is simply stiffness, if you simply accept it as stiffness, then you are simply seeing stiffness as stiffness. It doesn't belong to you. So, parato, the perspective is there. More and more you do like this, so your mind becomes kind of disenchanted. You are losing the interest. So that is what then Buddha explains to Venerable Rahula. Tang netam mama neso hamasmi na meso attati eva metang yatha bhutang sammapanyaya dattabbam. Now, when you are experiencing these element characteristics, when elements are talking to you, if you can understand they doesn't belong to me, they are not mine. Neso hamasmi, this I am not, and na meso attati, they are not myself. In a way, you can use this as a formula if you like, because Buddha emphasizing this statement at various locations to give us understanding, to put us in the correct track, that what you are experiencing is not yours. It is not you are. It is not yourself. But they are simply causal effects. They have happened due to causal relationship. They are simply results of in this cause and effect. So if you can observe these elementary characteristics, either it may be fire, earth, water or air, then you are maintaining some kind of distance. And more you have to do it. So it may not happen within a day. It may not happen within a week. And it may even not happen within a month. But you have to continue to practice. So more and more you practice, more and more you are maintaining this distance. So if you expect this to happen overnight, it may not happen. So Buddha gives a very beautiful simile in Mahasatipatthana Sutta, how one may look at the elements in a correct perspective. So he's giving a very rough simile. He's telling, suppose there is a cow and a butcher has killed it. And once it is killed and the skin has taken out and the body has cut into pieces. Now suppose he is going to a junction and now he starts selling parts of the cow. Now it is no more cow. What is available there is meat, beef. So when someone is coming and asking, give me, in today's terms, give me 1 kilogram of meat. So if the butcher telling that this cow I am selling, so there is no such way. Now he simply have the notion, he simply have the perception that he is selling meat. Simply meat is available. There is no more cow. Now you can understand that the change from the perspective. Now at the beginning there was a cow. It was killed. And after the body has cut into pieces, there is no more cow. It has become meat. The same changing of perspective has to happen within ourselves through meditation. Now if you, this simile, you can easily understand that the butcher is no more selling cow but meat. But when you are observing your own, elements, you won't get this kind of proper perspective. But Buddha preparing ourselves, he projects ourselves, guides ourselves to the correct perspective. So look at the elements as someone else's elements. Mere elements. It is not leg, it is not stomach, it is not head, It is just elements. And when elements are talking, it is stiffness, it is roughness, it is coarseness, it is hot, cold, movement, vibration. So all these are very basic levels of elements. More and more you experiencing it like that, more and more you are getting the correct perspective. So it is happening very naturally, very slowly. So you need to allow it to happen. You can't program your mind to happen. Say someone logically understand the principle, and if he is trying to kind of implant this, or if he is trying to program the mind, or trying to condition the mind, then it is wrong vipassana. It is not the correct vipassana. In the correct vipassana, in the correct meditation, it happens smoothly. You have to have enough patience. You have to let it happen gradually, slowly, in a relaxed manner. Then it is more healthy. Then when you are experiencing it, you may feel even happy. Now you are looking at body showing that stiffness, roughness, cold, hot, vibration and these type of things. And when you are experiencing it, you have even a happy feeling. And they start arising and passing away, and you may feel even happy. So in a way, logically we can't understand by looking at this way how one can become happy. But if you are slowly growing, if you are healthily growing, naturally growing, you are actually coming to these stages. So you have to allow time. You have to accept these things. As a theory you need to learn, theory you need to understand, and you have to engage in meditation, vipassana particularly. So if you are doing like that, then what happens is, even when you understand, it is mere vibrations are there throughout the body. So you can't locate where it is happening. Now among various elements, at one time, at one occasion, say air element has become predominant. The whole body becomes kind of a vibration. So you are simply witnessing it as something, someone is vibrating, someone else is vibrating. If you put your hand, think that something is going to happen to you, then you are disturbing the process. But if you have the correct perspective, you simply understand this body is nothing but 4 elements. So it's a kind of a change of perception, a correct perception, right view, sammaditthi. Because so far we were identifying with the body. We think that this body belongs to me. This body is I am. It is myself. But now slowly, what happens is, we are making a distance, we see it as someone else, and ultimately it is vibration, it is just movement, just tightness, just heaviness, just lightness. It is just lightness, and you are simply observing it. And if you can maintain this kind of distance observation, you can even feel very happy. And Buddha says, Evametang yathabhutang sammappaññāya disva patavi dhātuya nibbindati. Now when you understand it is the earth element which is operating as heaviness, as lightness, as roughness, as softness, as coarseness, so then you may understand this type of characteristics are available even in the outside. So is there any difference that you are experiencing in this stiffness? And when you touch a table, what you are experiencing in that table, is there any difference? So there is no difference at all. So if you are able to even logically understand it, so you may not claim this body as I am. So more you further experience it, again and again you understand it, you become kind of not much grasping the body. You are simply considering body as some causal result. It belongs to nature. And it does not mean that you neglect the body. So don't make it wrong. It does not mean that you are neglecting the body. You are taking care of the body, but with the correct perspective. You are using it as a tool now. So that is where Buddha says, Patavi dhatuya nibbindati, Patavi dhatuya chittang virajeti. Now your mind is now taking away from the body. It was inside the body like. It was grasping the body. It is tightly held in the body. Now no more tightly held in the body. You are simply maintaining a distance. You are not too much greedy of the body even. You may take care of it. You may bathe it. You may eat it. You may do all the other things. You may take care of it. But you know what it is. You have seen it properly. The proper perspective with the correct understanding. More and more you develop this wisdom, more and more you maintain the gap, maintain a distance. And if you want to have a mind which has no trace of body, then even that is possible. So when it comes to Chittanupassana, Dhammanupassana, you can't have any kind of perception which belongs to earth element, which belongs to fire element, which belongs to water element. So all that perceptions are disturbing the mind, are blocking the mind. They are burden to the mind. But when you are growing slowly, naturally, properly in the path, your mind is able to free from these things. So that is the beautiful state in Chittanupassana. Probably we will discuss it on tomorrow. So here, what I am trying to explain today is where even in the Anapanasati and in the Dhatu Manasikara, 4-element meditation, you need to maintain some kind of distance. You have to see things as someone else's. Actually, this is more evident even in the Vedananupassana. Now say if you are going through Vedananupassana, seeing feeling as feeling, through Anapanasati, Buddha says, Piti patisangvedi assa sissami iti sikkati. Piti patisangvedi passa sissami iti sikkati. That means, now while breathing in, you feel happy. You feel rapture. While breathing out, you may feel happy. You may feel rapture. But if you grasp it, if you want to have it more, if you want to have it longer period, then you are disturbing the process. Sukha patisangvedi assa sissami iti sikkati. Sukha patisangvedi passa sissami iti sikkati. So your body even feel happy. Internally you may feel happy. But if you are trying to grasp it, it will be disturbed, even destroyed. But if you can maintain, let the mind be happy, let me even experience rapture, but not grasping. Now through Anapanasati, you are experiencing these things. For example, I am not telling that everyone may experience it, but if you are doing it properly, these type of even blissful states you can experience. So at the beginning you may start with lot of pains and all frustrations. But later on, as you understand the art, then these kind of really interesting states you may even experience. But the tricky point is, whenever you are trying to catch it, whenever you are trying to claim it, it may not last. But if you are able to understand, they are also happen due to causes. If you are able to maintain a distance, seeing it as someone else is now feeling happy, mind is totally in rupture, but as someone else's, then you can even experience it in a longer time. you need to have kind of inner satisfaction, inner contentment, rather than asking it. Now suppose today you experience some kind of happiness, and the next sitting, suppose you start sitting expecting that happiness, then it is very sure that you are not getting it. Because the expectation itself is disturbing it. It's a burden. Because now the mind is becoming so and so subtle, very smooth, very soft. For that soft mind, this kind of rough expectation is too much. The mind can't bear it. So mind can't blossom it. But on the other hand, you allow it to happen. You allow that someone else is breathing, is calming down, and allowing it to further calm down, then you may experience happy. And you simply observe it as someone, it doesn't belong to you. Then you may even experiencing it at a longer time. So it's actually Buddha's teaching is completely in a way, it's a really amazing thing that more you trying to claim, more you trying to grasp, you are losing it. More you trying to let it happen, more you trying to let it go, you are improving. And the same phenomena is available in the next stage, where Buddha says, Chitta sankhara patisangvedi asa sissamiti sikkati, Chitta sankhara patisangvedi passa sissamiti sikkati. That means, now you may feel certain feelings. It may be happy feeling, it may be even kind of unhappy feelings, and you may even see certain things, maybe beautiful things, even kind of say not so beautiful, kind of dreadful things. But if you are trying to go after them, go behind them, then you are caught. This is more important related to the perceptions, related to the signs. So when your mind becomes more and more comfortable, calm down, peaceful, say we can say as Mara, basically the consciousness, the asava and anusaya, they start appearing. How they appear, how they manifest is like certain visualizations, certain scenes. But if you are going after them, then you are going off the track. But here, if you are bit sort of, if your mind is too much attracted to that, you can even use the formula, this is not mine, this is not I am, this is not myself. You can even use it as a tool, particularly for perceptions. When certain perceptions are happening, they are very powerful. They are trying to grab you, trying to pull you towards those things. But at that time, you have to be very mindful, very wise, and you should disclaim them. So in order to disclaim, you should not have any kind of self feeling. In the sense, if you think that it belongs to me, then you can't let it go. When you have the perspective that it belongs to someone else, it has happened due to causes, then you have the proper understanding of this parato, belongs to someone else. So you can understand this concept, or rather this proper perspective as parato, as someone else, as belongs to someone else, is actually there at various stages. It is throughout the meditation, it is evolving, it is present. And the perceptions, when they are occurring as signs, as sounds, as say various feelings, then you simply have to disclaim them. Don't go after them. You have to let it go. It belongs to someone else. And if you are able to do that, these perceptions calm down. These perceptions go away. Mind becomes more and more clean, more and more clear. And then the feelings, if you had some suffering, some pains, then those also becomes calming down. Passambayan chitta sankharang assa sissamiti sikkati. You are calming down the process. You are allowing them to calm down. You are not taking that too serious. On the other hand, if you are experiencing, if I were to explain through the Satipatthana Sutta, there also Buddha says, Sukhang vedanang vediyamano, sukhang vedanang vediyamiti pajanati. Now you are experiencing happy feeling and you understand, now I am experiencing happy feeling. So there is no intention to keep it longer. And you don't even think that I am not deserving it. I am not suitable for that. That is also a wrong perception, wrong view. You are really suitable for all these beautiful things. And when they are happening, you are not claiming them. You are not trying to grasp them. It belongs to nature. It belongs to cause and effect. Similarly, and when it is happening internally, you don't grasp it. You don't hold them. Because they may change. They may cease. Even though at the moment you may experience some happiness, it may not last longer. It too will disappear. Samudaya dhammanupassiva vedanasu viharati. So when they are arising, you are maintaining some kind of distance and you see, now happy feeling is arising. Vaya dhammanupassiva viharati. So when it is ceasing, when it is disappearing, you are able to watching it as someone else's feeling is now disappearing. So actually I can explain these things, but practically you have to experience it. Practically you have to do it when these things are really occurring to you. So I am just preparing yourself. I am just explaining according to the Buddha's teaching. But these things may happen to you when you are not struggling. If you are expecting it, you are not getting it. But when you are letting it happen, it may happen. So it's a beautiful teaching in a way. So beautifully it is evolving. So beautifully it is blossoming, that when you have a kind of a distance look, when you have a disengaged meditation, so it is beautifully progressing. So simply, Buddha says, Atti vedanati va panassa sati pachupattita hoti. So he may understand, the yogi understand, there is happy feeling. So it is not necessary to make a party for that. I don't need to get elated for that. So just a happy feeling is there. Because he understood, even though it is present at the moment, at a next moment it may disappear. So he understood. It is arising and it is at another time it is passing away. Samudaya vaya dhammanupassiva kayasmin vedanasu viharati. So he is understanding happy feelings are arising and they are passing away. Painful feelings are arising and they are passing away. And you are not claiming any of these. You are not crying when the painful feelings are occurring. Because painful feelings have occurred due to causes. It belongs to cause and effect. More and more you have this correct perspective, you are maintaining some kind of distance and you are not grasping feeling. You are not claiming feeling. You are not throwing parties for happy feeling and you are not crying for painful feelings. Because they occur due to causes. And Buddha giving a very easy to understand simile. Suppose some dry sticks are rubbing each other. Then it may generate certain amount of heat. But once it has generated certain amount of heat, suppose you stop rubbing it and you keep it away, then that generated heat will dissipate. So Buddha says similarly, when the contact occurs, when passa occurs, due to contact the feeling arises. Passa paccha vedana. Due to contact the feeling arises. But when the causing contact, the causes, the reasons are no more, that arisen feeling will disappear. So if you simply understand with the simile and how practically you are feeling a happy feeling or painful feeling, so we don't need to cry or elate because they have happened due to causes. So therefore, he may use this feeling as a tool to improve his mindfulness and as a tool to improve his wisdom. So that is why Buddha says, Yavadeva jnanamattaya patissati mattaya viharati. Patissati mattaya anissitocha viharati. So more and more you, suppose you are more biased towards Vedananupassana, you are going through Vedananupassana, and if you are seasoning in it, if you are having some kind of proficiency in it, then you are using Vedana, the feeling, as a tool to improve your mindfulness, to sharpen your mindfulness, and to develop wisdom through feeling. And when you are experiencing that certain feeling is arising and without your control it is passing away, you are getting insight knowledges. And if you are trying to claim that I have insight knowledge, then again we are going off the track. But if we are understanding that feelings are there, they are arising, they are passing away, causes are there, so then you have the correct understanding, and more you have this correct understanding, you start letting go. When we have the correct understanding, it naturally causes to let go. So we don't need to force to let go. We don't need to relinquish by force. But through understanding, we naturally becomes letting go. Naturally becomes relinquishing things. It may be happy feeling, it may be painful feeling. We are not claiming those things, we are not grasping those things, we are letting it happen. Anissitocha viharati. So one may live without depending on them, maintaining kind of a distance. Nacha kinchi loke upadiyati. So you are not grasping anything. Any feeling in the world you are not grasping. It may be either internal or external, you are not going after that, going after them. Because you understood that it is happening due to causes. If causes are present, it may happen. If causes are not present, it may not happen. So when you have this kind of proper understanding, you are broadening your vipassana knowledges. You are getting the correct perspective. You are becoming more and more matured. And Venerable Mahamoggallana says, maybe how he enlightened, he says, as a beautiful verse which comes in Thero Gatha, Venerable Mahamoggallana says like this, Sukumang te pativijjanti valaggang usuna yatha ye panchakkande passanti parato nocha attato. So he is giving a very beautiful simile there. So if someone is looking at these 5 clinging aggregates as belongs to someone else, understand it properly. So a yogi, the meditator, is looking at either the form, the feeling, the perception, the proliferations, the mental formations, or even the consciousness, all of these things as someone else. Not as attato, not as myself, not belong to me, not I am, as someone else. Then he is capable of seeing things very accurately. He may have a penetrative knowledge. That is what it says, Sukumang te pativijjanti. Even a very subtle things he may have understood very wisely or very in a penetrative knowledge, because he is seeing things in the proper perspective, seeing things that it belongs to someone else. And he's giving a simile like an archer may hitting a tip of a hair using an arrow. Now you can imagine how precise an archer has to be to hit a hair through an arrow. So it's so difficult. He has to be very proficient in archery. So Venerable Mahamoggallana is telling the one who is having this correct perspective, one who sees things, this form, feeling, perception, formations and the consciousness as belong to someone else, has this capacity. He can penetrate these five khandhas. So that is the beautiful thing. So Venerable Mahamoggallana, so emphasizing this point, he says that we need to have this proper perspective. So throughout the meditation process, if we can maintain this kind of proper perspective, we can experience really beautiful meditation. But if we are trying to control it, if we are trying to, with the very moment we are putting our hand, we are disturbing the process. We are cutting the progress. We are harming the process. So, having understanding this parato, the whole five khandhas belongs to someone else. It belongs to nature. It occurring due to causes. Have a with that understanding, if we are sitting either in sitting meditation or when we are doing walking meditation, then we can maintain some kind of distance. We can have the proper perspective. We can have the distance observation. And we don't have any preferences. And we are not judging. It may happen anyway. I mean, it may happen the way we like or it may happen the way we don't like. But we are not judging. We are not putting any preference. But we are simply accepting it as it is. So this understanding is very important, very crucial in our progress in meditation. So I hope, so this explanation that the concept parato, the perspective parato, looking at five khandhas as belong to someone else, helps you to have a correct perspective in your meditation, and may it help to progress so that you may not put your hand to the meditation, understand it is happening due to causes, and you may be able to experience really blissful state and more deeper insight knowledges. So wishing like that, I conclude today's Dhamma talk and wish you all the best in your Vipassana practice.